Okay, so today we're going to dive into something that's all around us all the time, but we rarely ever stop to think about it in depth.
Right.
And that is the power of fragrance,
Yeah.
and specifically how it shapes our mood and even, our confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've got some really interesting research here that looks at, how these different scents can really like get under our skin in a way.
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating how directly smell connects to the brain, you know?
Well, yeah.
Most of our senses, they kind of go through these different relay stations in the brain, right?
Right.
But smell, it just bypasses all that and goes right to the limbic system,
Oh, wow.
which is basically the emotional center of the brain and also the memory center. So,
Hmm.
that's why a single whiff of something can trigger like a powerful feeling or a really vivid memory.
Right.
Way faster than, say, like seeing a picture or hearing a song.
Yeah, it's almost like a shortcut.
It is. It's a shortcut
Yeah.
to those really core parts of ourselves.
So that really direct connection between scent and, those deep parts of our brain,
Yeah,
that's what we're really interested in today. Like,
absolutely.
how can we, leverage this connection and be more intentional about it?
Right.
Like using fragrance, not just because it smells nice, but because it can actually help us, express ourselves,
hmm
boost our mood,
Yeah.
or even feel more confident.
Yeah, like using it as a tool
Yeah, exactly.
instead of just a nice to have.
So to start off, I think it would be good to kind of understand the science a little bit more.
Sure.
Like, how do these different scents actually work their magic on us?
Well, I think a good place to start is with this idea that specific fragrance notes can evoke such distinct feelings in us.
Yeah.
Like, think about it. Have you ever just like caught a whiff of something and it just like completely transports you?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Right, like back to a certain place or time or like specific feeling maybe.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's really the interplay between those scent molecules and our brains at work. Like scientists have actually discovered that certain aromatic compounds interact with very specific receptors in our noses.
Oh, wow.
And those receptors send signals straight to those emotional centers that we were talking about.
So it's not just in our heads, like there's a real physical process happening.
Exactly. It's like a lock and key mechanism almost.
Huh.
Each scent molecule has its own shape, and it fits into a corresponding receptor in our nose.
Right.
And that triggers a specific response in the brain.
So let's talk about some of those specific responses, like, for example, citrus notes.
Okay.
We often hear that they're really energizing and uplifting.
Yeah.
Like that, that bright smell of lemon or grapefruit first thing in the morning.
Right?
Is there something special about those kinds of molecules that makes us feel that way?
Well, actually, yes. Citrus fruits, they contain these things called volatile organic compounds.
Okay.
And one of the most common ones is called limone.
Limone.
Limone, and studies have shown that limone actually has a stimulating effect on the nervous system. So it's not just that we associate those smells with being awake and alert.
Right.
There's actually a physical reason why they make us feel that way.
So it's more than just, oh, lemons smell clean and fresh, so I feel more awake.
Right.
There's like a biological component to it.
Exactly.
Wow, that's really cool.
So it's a good example of how scent can have a really tangible effect on our state of mind.
What about woody aromas?
Mm-hmm.
The research mentions those as being more grounding and calming.
Yeah, like sandalwood or cedarwood.
Right, exactly, like those kinds of smells.
Yeah, those are really interesting because a lot of woody scents actually contain compounds that have been used for centuries in traditional medicine and aromatherapy for their calming properties.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so for example, some studies have shown that just smelling cedarwood can actually lower your stress hormones.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And, it also makes sense when you think about it because a lot of these woody scents, they remind us of being out in nature. And we know that spending time in nature is super calming and restorative.
Yeah.
So it could be that our brains have just like evolved to associate those smells with feeling safe and relaxed.
Oh, wow, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's like this primal connection that we have to the natural world.
Okay, so we've talked about citrus, we've talked about woody. What about spicy scents?
Ah, spicy scents.
The research describes them as bold and captivating good for making a statement.
Yeah, I love a good spicy scent.
Right.
I mean, think about like cinnamon or cloves.
Right.
They just have this warmth and intensity to them.
Yeah.
And chemically speaking, spicy scents tend to have these heavier, more complex molecules that really linger in the air.
Interesting.
Yeah, and those molecules, they can interact with a wider range of receptors in our nose.
Right.
So we perceive them as being richer and more intense.
Uh-huh.
And there's also a historical element to it. Spices have always been kind of rare and valuable.
Oh, yeah.
So I think there might be a subconscious association with like luxury and sophistication. Oh, that's interesting.
And then, of course, the intensity of the aroma itself just naturally draws attention.
Right. It's like you can't ignore it.
Yeah, exactly.
So it seems like it's not just about, whether a smell is pleasant or not.
Yeah.
There's like a whole complex interplay of, chemical reactions and psychological associations happening.
There's a whole symphony happening in our brains.
Exactly. And that brings us to this really intriguing idea of, confidence in a bottle.
Yeah.
Can a fragrance actually make us feel more self-assured?
That's a great question, and I think the research really gets at this intersection between psychology and perception.
Right.
It suggests that wearing a fragrance that aligns with how you want to feel can actually boost your confidence.
Really?
Yeah, it's almost like you're sending a message to yourself.
Like a self-affirmation.
Exactly, like an olfactory self-affirmation.
I love that.
You smell good, you feel good, and that can just have this ripple effect on how you perceive yourself overall.
Yeah, and I was thinking about this too. It's almost like a form of signaling.
Yeah. Like if I choose a scent that makes me feel powerful or attractive,
Right?
then maybe I'll carry myself differently or, interact with others in a more confident way.
Absolutely. And it can also influence how other people perceive you.
Yeah, that's true.
While scent is super personal, certain fragrance profiles do have these cultural associations. Like
Right.
a sophisticated woody scent might make people think, oh, this person is competent and successful.
Right.
While a bright citrus might make you seem more approachable and energetic.
Oh, interesting.
So in a way, your fragrance becomes this subtle, unspoken part of how you present yourself to the world.
Yeah, it's like another layer of communication.
Exactly.
That's really cool. And speaking of presenting yourself to the world, the article had this pro tip that I thought was really interesting
Oh, yeah. What was that?
about choosing a fragrance that aligns with your personality.
I like that.
Yeah, like it gave some really concrete examples, fresh, aquatic scents for someone who's more minimalist in their style. Or like richer, leathery aromas for someone who's more adventurous.
Yeah, it's about finding that scent that really reflects who you are.
Exactly like your olfactory twin.
I love that olfactory twin. Yeah.
Right, because if you're wearing a scent that just doesn't feel like you,
Right.
you're probably going to feel self-conscious.
Totally. And that kind of defeats the whole purpose.
Exactly.
It's got to be authentic to you.
Yeah, it's got to be genuine.
So that the fragrance feels like a natural extension of who you are.
Right, and not like you're putting on a costume.
Exactly.
Now, another point that the research made that I thought was really interesting was about how using fragrance can actually be a form of self-care.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about it that way before.
What resonated with you about that idea?
Well, you know how we all have those little rituals that make us feel good?
Yeah, like what kind of things?
Like, that first cup of coffee in the morning, or taking a few minutes to meditate, or, just do something for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I feel like adding fragrance to that routine can be really powerful.
How so?
Because it's not just about smelling good for other people.
Right.
It's about doing something nice for yourself.
Yeah, it's a way of being intentional about how you want to feel.
Yeah. And just that simple act of, spraying on a fragrance that you love can be really refreshing and uplifting.
It's almost like a mini reset button for your mood.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's something to be said for those little moments of sensory pleasure throughout the day.
Right, like a little treat for your senses.
Exactly. And our brains actually respond really well to consistent routines.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so incorporating fragrance into your daily routine can be a way to signal to yourself that you're shifting from one state to another.
Right.
Like from sleep to wakefulness or from work to leisure.
Oh, like an olfactory cue?
Exactly. It's a way to ground yourself in the present moment through scent.
And to give a concrete example, the research mentions this BLVK collection
Oh, yeah.
as a brand that offers scents for different occasions.
That's cool.
Yeah. And even though we don't have all the details about their specific scents,
Right.
just the fact that they have this whole collection designed for different moments in your life really reinforces this idea that fragrance can play all these different roles.
Yeah, it's not just one-dimensional.
Right. It's not just about smelling good. It's about how you want to feel and how you want to present yourself.
It can be a really powerful tool for self-expression.
So to kind of bring it all together,
Yeah,
it's clear that fragrance is way more than just a nice smell.
for sure.
It has this deep connection to our emotions and memories,
Mm-hmm.
thanks to that direct link to the limbic system.
Right.
And that makes it a surprisingly powerful tool for shaping how we feel and how confident we are.
Absolutely.
And choosing the right scent can be this really cool form of self-expression
Yeah.
and this subtle way that we communicate with the world around us.
That's like a secret language.
And it's also a really nice way to practice self-care and make our daily routines a little bit more enjoyable.
I think that's a great takeaway.
Now, for you, the listener, think
Yeah.
about the scents that you're naturally drawn to.
Yeah.
And not just what you've worn in the past, but just like what smells in the world make you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And think about how those preferences might connect to the moods that you want to experience.
Right.
Or the kind of impression that you want to make in different situations.
I think it's an invitation to experiment a little bit,
Yeah.
you know? Maybe step outside your comfort zone and try some new fragrance families and just see how different scents make you feel.
Right.
You might discover a whole new way to influence your well-being and your self-perception.
Yeah, all through the power of smell.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is. Well, thanks for taking this aromatic journey with us today.
It was my pleasure.
Hope you learned something new.
You too.
And we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
Sounds good.
Bye.